I had said, including in a way that I put on the public record and as a pronouncement, that as a Christian, I could not represent Texas after seeing what had been done. And perhaps somebody thought they had a right to challenge me as a Christian. If your definition of a Christian is to murder Jews so you can steal their inheritance and legacy and claim it as your own, then by your definition, I am not a Christian. And I am 100% adamant that you do not have any right to call that a culture or a religion. If that's your definition of Christendom, I say you're a heretic. I say you're an apostate. I say you are a sinful person and you never really actually meant anything you professed to when it came to being a godly person. And that what you've done instead is defame and defile scores of other people that were truly holy. And I've seen it. I've seen the covetous way that people look at truly holy people in Texas. It is some really strange form of diseased mentality. It is very pernicious, and it's actually a part of the history going all the way back. It's in the public documents, it's in the public records, it's all over the place. You take people, truly spiritual people of one form or another, and you play out some sort of cult ritual game where you possess them through some form of demonology, and then you try to get them to do something you can hold over them as a soul binding. See, the truth of the matter is, the Texas Constitution does not do anything to protect against actual Satanism. And I contend that there were a number of Luciferians and actual Satanists during the time in which Texas came into being. There's been a struggle. And part of the struggle is that people have this delusion that they're entitled to approximate or proxy as if they're someone else without having to bear any of the consequences. And part of the way they do that is they play at being a holy person. And Christianity is convenient. Specific expressions of Christianity are convenient in terms of all of the mystical elements that are appropriated in order to accomplish nefarious political means. And I still contend and mean that. In my tradition and in my way of being, there is absolutely no irreconciliation behind me saying I'm a Christian and that I understand that I also have particular other lineages. My relationship with Christendom should have been my own private business. It wasn't about a ceremony or a religious cult or some sort of proving ground based upon murdering the Son of God who was born a Jew, so that then a whole bunch of other people that were not born in that blood lineage could bathe in his blood and all of a sudden become an inheritor. This was nothing I've ever understood to be about anything holy or sanctified. If you believe you have protection in a religion that's based upon murdering people who have a particular legacy and bathing in their literal fucking blood as a way to redeem yourself as some sort of visage or some sort of understanding of coming into beingness, you should have kept that shit to yourself. You should have kept those spells and those bindings to yourself. You have no more entitlement or right to try to persecute me for not being a good enough Christian as you did for not being a good enough Jew. Because ultimately, it gets to the same thing over and over again. You don't really give a shit. It isn't about whether or not I said anything true. What it's about is how much I'm going to pay you. And ultimately, if I was a Christian, I wouldn't pay you a fucking Jew. And if I was a Jew, I wouldn't pay you a fucking Jew. And if I was a Muslim, I wouldn't pay you a fucking Jew. And if I was secular, I wouldn't pay you a fucking Jew. It doesn't really matter. Jews are not for sale. Right? And I don't know who you are. It feels like you're so entitled to command and dominate the bandwidth to the exclusion of anybody else. But you've prevailed at least enough to let me know that your spellcasting is so significant that there is no other process available. There's nothing else. There's no authority. There's no economy. There's no polity. There's no civic engagement. There's no love. There's no family. There's certainly no justice. I apologize. There aren't any Jews. You liquidated them all. They're all gone. You succeeded. Existential annihilation. There's no more Jews for sale. There's nothing for you to base your livelihood on. There's nothing left. You went about it the wrong way, I guess. You just tapped out. There's nothing. So, if there's nothing, there's no truth to anything you said or did, including your vapidity and your cowardice. It's pretty much where we are. And I know I'm supposed to be devastated. I'm supposed to be devastated that after these 5 long, hard years of trying to make some sense of this complete travesty of anything remotely reasonable, I'm supposed to be broken down and I'm supposed to be despondent. My loneliness and alienation. I apologize. I really sincerely do. I did not appropriately acknowledge you, and I did not attend to your needs, and I'm sorry for that. I really am. But I think we're just gonna have to agree. It didn't work out. It's never gonna fucking work out. It's time to just call the whole thing off. Apologize. I did not live up to your expectations, and you did not apparently have any of your own that were worth living up to.